Well, Rob and I headed out to go to some great flea markets and little boutiques, but of course we stopped at Prairie Grove Bakery for a great coffee. And then we ended up at Southern Mercantile was our first stop. This is one of my absolute favorites. There are just so many ideas here, and the building itself is just beautiful with the brick walls and just a lot of architectural salvage type finds here and a lot of real antiques, actual antiques, not just as well as vintage. There's plenty of vintage too. I get a little bit excited, so my camera was moving around a bit too much in the beginning, but I slow it down a little bit. But you can see vintage textiles, and which I always have to look at, and I adore those. The grain sack, of course, is hard to find or in this area except online. And then baskets and vintage artwork and every kind of beautiful furniture piece you would want in a farmhouse or a cottage. Generally, you can find here. This door was just stunning, and I wish I had a place to put it. You can see there's just a lot of texture, which of course I love, and all kinds of finds. This scale I was really thinking about. And I love the butcher block paper dispenser, probably from an old store. And this big cabinet would be a great island if you had the space. And there are natural wood pieces and painted pieces everywhere. And I just love coming for inspiration because these vendors are just so good at styling. They're great. They all have a great eye. There are some that are my favorites, and I get a lot of ideas from them. But they're just really good at putting it together like it would possibly be in a room. This map was really something I wanted to take home, but it was $99 and probably well worth it, but a little out of my budget for a piece of art like that, but I did love, love, love it. And as you're walking through here, of course, the floors are creaking, and it's just a wonderful place. You can see there's a lot to take in, a lot to choose from. I know I've said before, a lot of times I don't buy a lot out here. I do find things here and there. But, of course, it's more of your retail prices. This is a Restoration Hardware leather couch, and it was a little over $700, which for a leather couch like that is actually a really good price. These lions were also a favorite. They were a base of a table, but again, out of our price range. This is one of my favorite booths back at the end. They always have plants. They mix in a lot of plants. And this is one of my favorite displays here were the blue and white dishes and all their rustic items that they mix in. Just such a beautiful mix. And it's fun to just see what you could do with your vintage pieces, what you could do with neutral decor or even decor with a little bit of color thrown in. Loved the driftwood garland there. And this is a new booth, and I have a feeling it's going to be one of my favorites. Everything in there would just work with my vibe I've got going on, with the aesthetic I have here at the house. I could easily mix some of those in, and as you can see, it's got a little bit of color. That leather butterfly chair is just beautiful. And of course, seashells and coral and starfish and air plants. I am not complaining about their selections here. And the airplanes were actually a really reasonable price. I'll probably pick up a couple of those next time I'm out there. Then we headed over to Daisies and Olives, which is just a walk down the sidewalk from the Southern Mercantile. And this is a really large flea market. I've shown you a little bit of it here before on the channel. I think we did a Christmas tour before. But again, very curated, such great vendors. So many ideas right when you walk in the door. And they have all these amazing soaps right at the counter, so it smells really good when you walk in. All the candle molds, and they have a mix of new and old pieces in here. It's mostly vintage and antique, but there are some dealers that have some new pieces or handmade or boutique type items. There's actually a clothing booth in the back that I've bought several things from. I really like her boutique clothing selections, and they hold up really well. They're so cute. And I just kind of looked at a few prices just to give you an idea. I think this pillow was $28. So some things are quite pricey and some things are really a bargain. So you just never know. You just have to look around. Loved this tarnished silver. Very pretty. And this one has some new tea towels mixed in with all their great vintage finds. I really wasn't on the hunt for anything specific. Just wanted to take it all in and get some inspiration and ideas. I always love the blue and cream colored pottery. That was 24 and 16 for those, which is not a bad price. And this really oversized pretty vase. It almost looks like Roseville pottery or something like that. So not bad prices on those. And a lot to look at here, which is half the fun, right? Just looking around, getting ideas, seeing what you think. Sometimes I'll get an idea for something I already have that's similar, and I'll think, oh, hey, I should do that with it. Then this green table. I don't even think this table was for sale, but I just thought the color and the patina on it was so pretty. Green is just always grabs my eye. The bark cloth curtains in here. This was a very shabby chic style booth. A lot of vintage fabrics and florals and sort of baby things and children things. Very cute. Of course, I spot the textiles, and look at the handwork on that cross-stitch runner. I thought that was beautiful. I can't imagine how many hours were put into that piece. And I was very tempted by this floral because I loved the gray background. I thought that would blend with a lot of colors that I have. But I have fabric now that I haven't used yet, so I decided to wait on that. And this I just love. I could see this turned into a quilt. I have 2 sons and a grandson, and this would be a great quilt for one of them. And the piecing, the hand piecing is already done, and I think they did a really, really nice job. And of course, when I'm going back and editing and looking at this, I'm thinking, maybe I should have got that and put that quilt together. And some jadeite, which of course is really popular right now. And I think from what I've seen, that's a pretty fair and decent price, but I don't know for sure because I'm not a collector of it. Maybe some of you that collect it can tell me if that was a good price for that many pieces. Nice booth here, had a lot of these vintage prints, which I always tend to like because the colors are just so soft and muted in them. And a needlepoint piece, again, a lot of handwork in that. Or maybe that's a tapestry. It might not be an actual hand needlepoint when I look at it. If you need a John Wayne picture, there's your booth. Would be fun for a Western room or a man cave or something like that. That would be fun. And again, being pulled toward the green table. So pretty. And a big ironstone soup tureen here, which I did not think that was a bad price for everything being intact, and it looked like it was in really, really good condition. And I do love ironstone, but I'm not sure if I'd ever use that or if it would even really work in my display in my hutch. Now heading to the back, here is one of my absolute favorite booths again. They have a lot of sort of architectural finds. You can see these, I think these are old electric insulators. I just love stuff like that that's repurposed, or just like they have it here thrown in a bowl. I think it's so interesting and such a conversation starter. Those blue vintage bowls are gorgeous. And I think you'll see why I love this space so much. Of course, they always have live plants in there, a lot of textures, a lot of sort of natural and organic feeling pieces in there, and a little bit of industrial. And look at these gorgeous pillows. Oh my goodness. And I have kind of a pillow issue. But these are so textury and just something that I would love to have in my house. And cute little plant in a pottery planter, which I just love that kind of stuff. I think it just brings the outside in, and it's very calming, and it doesn't feel like clutter to me when it's a plant like that. Huge bread bowl, and this piece of pottery was just stunning. It just absolutely grabbed me. It was $300, so well out of my price range, but the colors, you can see I put my hand up there to see how big that is. It's just huge and it's just a showpiece, would really be an attention getter. And I love the orchid in the little pot and even that print in the back. All of it, just all of it works for me. And you can see it's such a neat old building here. The tin ceiling and the brick walls and just everywhere you look is just good stuff. Can I move in? And they have the driftwood sort of twig mirrors in there always, and those are so pretty. Now they have some little boutique clothing. Another one of these plants. I keep looking at the price, hoping to find one that's half of that maybe. Didn't work. And I love mortar and pestles. We use those all the time in our cooking, so I always look at those. We have a few. We don't really need anymore, but I still look at them. And of course, I love my hats. Look at that fern in that galvanized trough. Just stunning on its own. And there's one of those mirrors I told you about. A lot of pretty pottery pieces. Just everything in here is right up my alley. And again, part of the building with the chippy door and the stone in the wall. Really neat. And some faded florals mixed in the back here. So, so pretty. Such a nice contrast. This style here reminds me of like a summer cabin, somewhere you would want to spend a couple weeks on the lake, right? A girl can dream, right? Moving through, it seems that green is a theme today. This beautiful green cabinet. And there's one of the aisleways just walking through. So much to choose from. It's a lot of fun. I always love this cabinet. This gray cabinet here has been a while, and they have all this amber glass. And I just love the mix of the gray with the amber. And these are a lot of, I think those are imported metal pieces from Mexico. These are newer pieces mixed in with, of course, a lot of the vintage. And that is a great cabinet back there, sort of like a mail slot cabinet. And I was just looking at the detail on that hutch. Again, just trying to memorize all the ideas. Sometimes I'll make notes to myself. And this basket on wheels, market basket, I was really considering it, but it was just a bit too expensive for me. I probably could have asked for a better price, and if it's still there when I go back, I may do that. This is a bookseller, and I've met her before. I just love her space. She's got across the aisle there, the other side too, and just goes to show old books are just beautiful and decorative, and I don't feel like you can have too many. This booth is a lot of fun. It just reminded me of an English country house or a lot of European type pieces in here, right here in Northwest Arkansas. Who could imagine? But I love seeing it, and I swung around, and of course, you know, all of these gorgeous dishes just grabbed me. There was some Majolica And they ranged in price from about $18 up to maybe about $25. And there were many pieces there that I could have taken home for sure. So pretty. And they look great, I thought, against this sort of patina rustic wood. Okay, so are you ready to see what I got? The main thing I got from these flea markets and little boutique shops out in Prairie Grove was inspiration, ideas, just kind of sparks my creativity. And that's the main reason I love to go out there, other than, of course, the awesome bakery. But at Southern Mercantile, what I found, I have a small little book budget, and I like to buy design books or gardening books or herb books when I find them at a good price. And one vendor at Southern Mercantile just had some great stuff that I couldn't resist. So I ended up getting this Rachel Ashwell book. These are hardcover design books, and they just give me a lot of inspiration and ideas. This one is her Couture Prairie and Flea Market Treasures. And you can see it's just a beautiful book with a lot of ideas. I've always liked Rachel Ashwell. I don't really decorate shabby chic as feminine as she does, but I do love a little bit of course, the chippy furniture, some of the faded florals, just some of the well-worn, beautiful pieces I like to add in. So I got these at about half price of what they would be full price. So I think I paid $15 maybe for that one. And then I got another one of hers that was Shabby Chic Inspiration and Beautiful Spaces. And I used to have a lot of her earlier books, and I ended up passing them on to someone else, and I kind of regret it because I really liked to thumb through those and get ideas and inspiration. But these have been great, and I've just been absorbing from them and enjoying them. And then I found Perfect English Farmhouse, and this is by Ross Byam Shaw, which is a new person to me. I have not seen this book before, but it was just so gorgeous. The inspiration, it's the, the quintessential English country home. I have just really been staring at these pictures and reading all the little tidbits. So that was a great one. Again, I paid about $15 for all of these, and for each of these rather. And then I got a Cabbages and Roses, which I've always been a fan of, and Living Life Beautifully. And I found something else that looked very Cabbages and Roses at the other flea market that I'll show you in just a minute. But oh my goodness, so much design inspiration in here. And just beautiful styling ideas and just ideas to make yourself happy, right? It makes me happy anyway. I don't know why interior design and home decor does that. Vintage items do that. It's just something I enjoy, and I don't apologize for it anymore. It's served me well over the years as a mom and a wife and making a cozy home, so I don't feel too bad about it. Okay, so also at Southern Mercantile, we got these gorgeous urns that are concrete. It was kind of hard to get a picture of them in the sunlight out here in the morning, but they come up to almost up to my knee. They're really a nice size. At first I thought they were some sort of pottery, so I kind of just passed them up even though I saw it had a good price on it. And Rob pointed out to me, oh hey, did you see that those are concrete? And that was a game changer because I love the fact that I can leave them outside year round. I don't want to have to move something that large and heavy in and out, of a shed or something. So those were about $30 a piece and very heavy. We had to move them on a cart, but they've got that really neat sort of verdigris kind of finish, like copper that's turned green. So I don't even have to do anything to them. So I'm happy with that find. And next at the actual Daisies and Olives flea market, we found this picture, and this was actually a Rob hubby find, and there's no markings on it or anything, but it is clearly a vintage pottery, and we're always kind of a sucker for that vintage pottery. This is a really large piece. You can see it's a nice one for iced tea. That's what we always gauge it by. Is this big enough to have a big pitcher of iced tea? And we drink unsweet tea like it's going out of style. And now we have all our fresh mint that's growing outside, and we've been just adding that in with our tea bags, and it's so good, you guys. Whether you add some sugar or non-sugar sweetener or whatever, or leave it unsweetened like we do, it is so refreshing and good, and we drink it a lot. But this was $20, which of course is more than I would normally pay when I'm out thrifting. And like I said, when I go to these flea markets and shops, it's usually just for inspiration, but we did find a few things that we really loved this time. So we went ahead and bought a few things, and I've got a couple more to show you. You know me and my baskets. Well, look at this beauty. Isn't that gorgeous? And look how big it is. I just can't even tell you how big it is. And I've tried it on my dining table, and I've tried it on my coffee table, and it just fits beautifully everywhere. But right now I'm using it in front of my fireplace to hold my seashell arrangement there, and it's just a beautiful piece. I can just see it at Christmas with my pink, red and white, pinky red and white transferware, some greenery, something like that. So I'm really happy about that find, and that was $18. And as I was going up to take it up to the counter, every woman I passed, just their eyes got big and said, I wish I would have seen that. I wish I would have seen that. So I think a lot of us have a thing for baskets because we just know how beautiful they are and how useful they are too. So, and speaking of cabbages and roses, I found this in one of my favorite shops. Well, one of my favorite booths rather. And look at this print on here. It totally, I don't see a tag anywhere on it. It's got blues and pinks and a little bit of a darker pink almost into a red and green, different shades of green. And it's on sort of a linen oatmeal-y background, and it is beautiful. So it had 3 pillow shams, and there it is. It's like an envelope closure on the back. You can see. And so I don't know what fabric this is, but it feels like it could definitely be a linen blend at the least. I mean, it feels like it has some cotton, but it almost has that texture to it of a linen also. So it's either a really good heavy cotton or a linen. So there were 3 shams, large shams, which I have not, I've washed it all up and I haven't even tried it on my bed yet. So there's the 3rd one. And they almost look like they might be handmade or made custom or something, because I just don't see any tags on them other than one that said my name, because I'll tell you what happened with it in a second. There was this big duvet cover. Big. I'm pretty sure it said king. I think it said king on it, which is the bed that I have is a king. There was just one catch, and it's got the seam ripped over here. This has got a rip, and it's not just the seam. It is a little bit of the fabric, so I would have to play around with that a little bit. But honestly, there's a lot of yardage here, so I thought I could either repair it and use it as a duvet cover, which I'm really leaning towards because it's so pretty, or I could use a lot of yardage for anything from a shower curtain to a window curtain. Just not sure where it's going to go yet, but originally they were asking $50. And this is a tip at any flea market or just about any antique mall or what have you. Most of the vendors have some flexibility on some of their pieces, not all of them, but you can ask, can you check with them and see if I could get a better deal? This has got a rip that I'm going to have to repair and play with, and can they do better? And there's nothing offensive about asking if they can do better on the price. And I didn't even make a different offer. I said, you know, it was $50 for the whole set, and I thought to myself, I'm probably not going to pay more than $35 on that. So we left. She couldn't get a hold of her right away, and I left my, you know, they held it for me and put my name and phone number on it. They called me back later when they got a hold of her, and she said she would do it for $34.95. So I thought it was meant to be. So we ended up not going back. We were already halfway home, and it's about a little over a 30-minute drive. So we went back a couple days later, and that's when we spotted the unexpected estate sale, which I'm going to show you the things I got from that in my next video. But I went back to pick this up and paid for it over the phone, and they held it for me for a couple days. So let me know what you would use this fabric for, and if it reminds you of the Cabbages and Roses fabric, because it definitely does remind me of their fabric line. I also grabbed these couple of crates, or what are these called? Apple crates, apple barrels, whatever they're called. And they're sort of that lightweight wood. And I got 2 of those for about $5 a piece. And this was actually in a little boutique shop that was on the way back. Some of these little boutiques out in this area have vintage stuff mixed with new, and some of them have strictly new, but they all have that farmhouse, cottage, even modern farmhouse, upscale, just amazing feel to them. So if you want to get your creativity fix and your eye candy fix, it's really fun to go out this way and go in all the little shops. So they had these just all over. They had smaller ones also, and they had them just all over displayed so beautifully. And they have real pretty artificial plants, which I don't do a lot of, but I tend to do them more in the summer because I have most of my houseplants outside, and I kind of don't want to mess with them in the summer because I'm doing so much outside work, that I will put in some artificials. And they had the, you know, the silvery gray lamb's ear. I think those look really real in the artificials. They had them full of that kind of thing, and they were just beautiful up on top of a hutch or on a shelf or just down on the floor. Beautiful. And I said, hey, you sold me on these, so I got a couple of those, and those will always be useful for something. I could even put live house plants in them. So that was it from there. But of course, you know that we stopped at Goodwill, and there's a Goodwill on the way out. So I did find just a couple of things at Goodwill also, and I want to show those to you. I found these really cool candle holders. They're sort of industrial. They have like a little thing that you turn here that can raise or lower it, and then you tighten it. These, I haven't even cleaned these up or anything yet, but you can see they're metal. So simple and pretty, just the kind of thing I love. So there were 3 of those. Let me get those out. And they were $2 a piece, which I thought was a great price. Okay, so 3 kind of different sizes. I'm trying to figure out if they're, no, they seem to be the same size on the top, but you can adjust them to be 3 different sizes, or I guess theoretically they could all be the same size if you were on a buffet or table or something. And they are actually Pottery Barn. They are Pottery Barn. I don't see an original price on there. It looks like maybe $25 a piece originally, which I believe. And I mean, I just didn't think you could go wrong, whether you keep them in this black or you spray them a gloss white, a brass, a silver, anything would be just beautiful. I personally love the black. So that was one fun find there. Then, funny enough, I found, I guess I was in my pink and girly floral mood because I found this and I thought it was just so cute. It is like a little pullover, little poncho-y thing, but I won't use it for that. I was just going to cut it apart and use it as something that you throw over a footstool. I thought it'd be even cute in here with the black and white. I could throw it over I have a little footstool here that I have a white fur one on, and I thought, oh, I'll just layer this on there, and it's so soft and pretty. And I think that was $3.50 if I'm not mistaken. It's been a couple of weeks since we've gone, so I don't have everything memorized. Now, next, I got to tell you about the next little shop that we went in, and this is one of my favorites. And it's called the Back Porch Designs, I believe. I'll put all the info in the description of the different places that I went. But I love going in there, and I recently started following her on Instagram. She also does flowers and full florist, and having had a shop that did flowers also and was also a gift shop, I kind of recognize talent when I see it, and boy, she is talented. And if you had an event, I'm sure you would be happy with flowers she would come up with, because her shop is just beautiful. The styling in there is fantastic. So I did find one thing in there, much as I want to take pretty much the whole store home. And this is one of those shops that she mixes vintage finds in with new, but all the new has that vintage vibe. Again, the farmhouse cottage vibe, just gorgeous, gorgeous. And if you're ever around there and have a chance to go in any of these places, I don't think you'll be disappointed. But what I did find there were some very pretty willow pieces. And after having seen they're all marked Japan, and they were $5.95. And after having seen that gorgeous blue, that bowl of blue and white dishes all stacked together in Southern Mercantile, I was really couldn't get that out of my mind, and thought, I want to do that just on my dining table, just have these blue and white plates stacked in there casually. It just looked so inviting and gorgeous to me. But even looking at those plates, and some of them were large and quite a bit more collectible and such, but they were in the $40 range. So when I saw these, I thought, well, that's not a bad price. And I have some that I can already, mix with them. So I found 1, 2, and I think there's a couple different sizes. Yeah, they're not exactly the same, but they are so, so pretty. The blue on them is really vibrant, and that's what I was looking for. Just so pretty. And here's a third one I found. Again, all marked, just a single marking saying Japan. And then I found 4. And let me show you the 4th one. And so, stacking those up, and you can see they're a little bit different color-wise, which I think just adds to the charm of it and adds to the depth. And I have a small stack of these already and a couple of platters, and we actually used them this last week. And I thought, I'm going to pull those out and start using them for regular dinners, because it's just so pretty and it's fun. That was pretty much my haul for just going out, antiquing, getting inspiration, looking at all the gorgeous pieces and ideas of how to display them and style them. It's always fun, and it's always relaxing and enjoyable to me. It's like my amusement park or whatever, how a kid would want to go to an amusement park. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me today. And I hope you're going to have a great week, and I hope you get out there and thrift if you're needing to cozy up your home, or
but even for resale, if you're thinking about, you know, starting your own little business, I've done that for years and it's a lot of fun, and it allows me an opportunity to be able to make the money to furnish my home and to make it cozy and give me a little budget to work with. So let me know in the comments what you liked the most about these places, and be sure and subscribe because I'm going to show you what I found at some couple of really neat estate sales down there that we happened upon. Neither one of them had we looked up before or knew about, and we just happened to find them and found some really neat stuff. So stay tuned for that coming up. And thanks again for watching. Have a great day.